Hey gang, Ronan here. Welcome on back to the Cade and week 15 of season 2 here of Sega Sports NFL 2K2 on Sports Saturday. We are at 12-1 on the season. We have only 2 weeks to go before we hit the playoffs. And we came across a pretty game, but ultimately unmatched Dolphins team as we beat them last week 30-7, and now we have to go ahead to the NFC West and take on the Arizona Cardinals. So without further ado, let's get cracking. Your 2002 Arizona Cardinals, this was their 83rd year in the NFL. It's amazing to think that there are teams in the NFL that are that old, but the Cardinals were one of them. They went 5-11 in the NFC West. It was their first year in the division after realignment. It was their second full season under head coach Dave McGinnis, and it was also the final year of quarterback Jake Plummer as the Snake went off to Denver in the 2003 offseason. It was also a year where they added some key players like Freddie Jones, a tight end from the Chargers, and Dwayne Starks, cornerback for the Ravens. But they also lost quarterback Corey Chavis to the Vikings, and the late Pat Tillman had retired in the offseason to join the U.S. Army in what would ultimately be a fatal transition out of the National Football League. In the draft that year, they picked up quarterback Josh McCown in the third round with the 81st pick out of Sam Houston State. And he was really, along with running back Josh Scobie from Kansas State in the 6th round, they were really the only guys that managed to have considerable play in the NFL. They also picked up a couple of free agents in the offseason. None of them really panned out. So we won the toss. We're going to elect to kick. And the question will be, will we have Jake Plummer as our quarterback for the Cardinals today, or Josh McCown? We'll find out shortly. But at this point in their history, the Cardinals were a team that just kept finding the rake, really, and slipping on the banana peel. They were one of those teams that, even when I was a kid, just habitually were not a great NFL team, which is part of why when I found the NFL in the early 80s, they were in St. Louis. They were originally in Chicago, and then their time in St. Louis ended in the late 80s, and they went to Arizona, and that's where they've been ever since. But in all the years that I followed them, it really wasn't until Kurt Warner showed up there at the tail end of his career, and they brought in Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald, that the Cardinals all of a sudden realized, hey, we can actually win games, and we can go all the way to the Super Bowl. So we got Joel Makovicka as the fullback, and we do have the Snake, Jake Plummer, as the quarterback. So like I said, he was drafted by the Cardinals at 97, was Jake Plummer, the 42nd pick in the second round. He went to Arizona State, but he's from Boise, Idaho. And I remember him as a Sun Devil. Like, he was a guy that was a real big personality in the Pac-10 back when the Pac-10 was a thing.
I think they're even driving them back a bit, Peter.
He played 4 seasons rather, with the Denver Broncos, then was a backup with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 07, and that was really it. He only played barely 11 years. So let's see what we can do on 3rd and 9 here. And incomplete as the pass was broken up by Ted Johnson. And now Arizona will have to punt it away here in the snow in Foxborough. And contrary to popular belief, Jake Plummer's nickname as the Snake is not an homage to famous former WWF/WWE legend Jake the Snake Roberts, who... Oh! We lost the football! And Arizona recovers it and brings it in for the touchdown. So, after bringing the ball back to the house last week in the win over the Dolphins, Charles Johnson gets tapped, loses the football here. It's scooped up by the Cardinals. They take it the rest of the way, about 35 yards, and they're on the board first, 6-0. And fumbleitis was something that was befalling our opponents a lot in the middle half of the season as we were building up that ridiculous shutout streak. But now it seems to have befallen our receiving core. So Martin Gramatica will come on for the point after. And he shanked it right. But it's still 6-0. And actually, it was Bill Gramatica, not Martin Gramatica.
That should have been a gimme, Dan.
There were two Gramaticas. Martin kicked for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers until he blew his knee out on an overly energetic field goal celebration. And now he will kick it away. And it looks like he's going to shank this left towards the corner. And Kevin Falk's going to take this one. I was going to try and let it see if it could go out of bounds. And we get it 1st and 10 at our 22. Now let's see what we can do on offense for the first time now that we are down 6-0. As opposed to getting our first drive underway with it being no score. We got 3:37 on the clock, first quarter. And Redmond still fighting for yardage. Picks up an honest 7. That's not a bad way to start it.
He didn't get the first, but leaves his team in great shape.
Now they've got time for the pass if they want to. They are in the driver's seat. It's second and about 3.
And Redmond had a good week last week, although we used him a lot. He had 25 carries on the day for over 100 yards. But he gets enough for the first down here.
J.R. Redmond surges ahead to get the first down. Nice run.
All right, let's see what we can do if we can go through the air and establish the passing game, shall we? Now that we're up near the 35-yard line. And this time we go to Johnson. He holds on to it. Raynoch Thompson already with 3 tackles on the day.
And I think that was the key to this play's success.
You got that right, Peter. They were more than ready for it, and they were able to buy time for their general behind the lines. It's 1st and 10.
Do they still have Aeneas Williams on this team? No, they don't. So for about a decade, the Cardinals had a guy in the backfield named Aeneas Williams who was one of the best safeties of his generation. As Redmond plows ahead and picks up 10 more.
Very hard to get the first down there.
It was a good, clean run. It's 1st and 10.
So let's see if we can go to the air again here on 1st and 10 now that we're in Arizona territory. We go to Lucas, and he's got it first down. Simple in route. High percentage pass if you can get somebody open. And that's going to be the thing we're doing on this drive. We're trying to test to see the capabilities of this defense, both against the run and the pass. And it looks like so far we've been doing well on both fronts. Now we're under 90 seconds to go in the first quarter. And Redmond only picks up 3, but that's not bad. As we're closing in on the red zone here.
It's 2nd and about 7 yards.
So 2nd and 7. About a minute to go. We got Johnson wide open, and he's got it first down. And Bledsoe's 3 for 3 for 40 yards already. That's a good sign. And more importantly, we are down inside the red zone at the 11-yard line.
Absolutely, and the best part is they're not relying on just one part of their offense.
Yeah, Dan, it's all good.
The Patriots.
Now, these two teams, the Patriots and the Cardinals, did not play each other in the 2002 season. Redmond scampers around the tackle and picks up 2.
A gain of 2. Ball at the 9-yard line.
And now we're at the 9, and this may be the final play of the first quarter, but we're knocking on the door. Redmond breaks the tackle, plows his way through, and he's in. Touchdown, J.R. Redmond. And we are even up at 6 each, with the extra point coming up. Good blocking up front. The line held and then just bowled over the defensive back to hit Pater. So Vinatieri will come on for the point after, and unlike Bill Gramatica, he don't miss the extra points. Field goals he's gotten better at as well. And the point after is good. 8 ticks on the clock in the first quarter. We have a 1-point lead over the Cardinals, 7-6. The 2002 season did not start out well for Arizona. They lost 2 of their first 3. They lost the opener to the then Redskins, now Commanders, 31-23. They beat the Seahawks on the road in week 2, lost to the Chargers in week 3. Ooh, this is going to be a short kick. But then looked to have righted the ship as they beat the Giants, Panthers, and Cowboys in the middle of having a bye week. But then they went on a 6-game losing streak, losing to the Niners, Rams. They lost the rematch to the Seahawks. They got spanked by the Eagles at the old vet.
The Cardinals will start at the 34-yard line.
Went home and got blown out by the Raiders 41-20, and then got shut out and skunked by the Chiefs at Arrowhead 49-0. And that'll be the final play of the first quarter. So it'll be a first down for the Cardinals when we get the second underway, but we still lead 7-6. So in fact, over the final 11 weeks of this, over the final 9 weeks of the season, the Cardinals only won 1 game. That was week 14, an overtime win over the then helpless Lions, 23-20. They tried the screen pass, but Brewski all over it. All right, so we're close to midfield. 2nd and 9. Plummer out of the shotgun, split backfield. Oh, we got away with them almost going off sides there. Plummer 2 for 3 for 8 yards, but it'll be 3rd and a long 2.
Bobbled it a bit, but managed to keep his hands on it.
It's 3rd and 2.
Seymour just jumped the snap a little bit, and if the ref hadn't seen it a second quicker, that would have been a penalty. But be that as it may, the pass is incomplete. That'll make a 4th and 2.
Short play.
And now the Cardinals will likely punt it.
Player will punt for the second time.
So Johnson will take this one at the 5. Hopefully he'll hang on to it this time. Would be nice. Thank you.
And makes the tackle
But we don't have great field position, as it'll be 1st and 10 at our
Gotta be
15.
happy with their running game. I see them sticking with it today. It's been working.
But if we can manage to pull off a drive like we did last time, where we were converting both on the ground and in the air, consistently picking up first downs, and also chewing time off the clock, that'll be even better. So Redmond picks up 3.
Ball at the 18-yard line.
Okay, empty backfield, 4 receivers. We're looking for a short pass to the outside. And we're going to get it as Lucas is right there, first down. The offensive line bought us just enough time.
They saw the blitzer coming and shut it down.
That is so crucial if they can pick up the rush like that. Once he has enough time, the quarterback can see all kinds of possibilities downfield.
Great job.
First and 10. Dodges a defender.
And Redman is close to a first down. He's already halfway to 100 yards on 8 carries.
On the first down. It's all about getting that yardage.
It's put this offense in
So
very
it's
good
second and about a half a yard as we're now in Arizona, or near Arizona territory. We're still on our side at the 40. But we're up across the 45. Nope, we are now at the 41-yard line.
J.R. Redmond got the yards he needed to convert.
They know they can count on him to make those crucial conversions. Nothing flashy, just good football. It's first and 10.
All right, so 1st and 10, closing on the 2-minute warning.
They pick it up.
Oh, but the blitz got to us this time. We didn't get the pass off.
Their first sack of the game.
The coverage was there. I had to try and buy an extra second.
That's a play. I'll bet
Fada
they would
Fahey was
back.
right there to put us down. So that backs us up.
It's
second and 19 is with the 2-minute warning.
The Patriots currently enjoying a slight advantage, but it's anybody's game. 7-6. Ball at the 32-yard line.
All right, we're going to need to convert here. And we got Detroit Brown, and it's close to a first down. It's 3rd and 1. Crucial pickup of 18 yards on that play.
The clock reads a minute and 46 seconds.
And surprisingly enough, as I saw in the coverage, Pat Tillman is still on this team. And if you're not familiar with the story of Pat Tillman, and you lived in this country for any time in the last 30 years, I urge you to educate yourself on that. Because he had a budding career in the NFL, and his story, he wasn't the biggest guy, wasn't the fastest guy, but he was a guy who played his butt off. And everybody who talked to him said that Pat Tillman was a guy who just gave everything he could. And then after 9/11, decided playing football wasn't as important anymore, and he and his brother both entered military service. And unfortunately, that's where he met his end. And the circumstances around his death were the cause of much speculation and a lot of well-earned scrutiny about how the military handled such a thing. And again, I'm not going to litigate it. I'm just simply telling you in basic terms what happened to him. So we call a timeout here. So we've got 30 seconds to go, and we still got a ways to get downfield.
They knew he could get the job done with the right throw. The Patriots take their first timeout and stop the clock. Ball on the 35.
All right, let's see if we can convert here. Got that one off to Troy Brown. So we'll call a second timeout. We got one more to go, but now we are right on the cusp of the red zone. So if we can convert here, I mean, we're in field goal range now.
Barely gets it off.
We got the Johnson first down.
The Patriots
All right, so it's first and goal,
That was their last timeout.
and we're at the
15 seconds to go.
2.5. And he'll walk it in. Touchdown, J.R. Redmond.
Takes it in for the touchdown.
He was close enough that he just needed the right hole to get inside, and he got it.
So we went 85 yards in about 3 minutes and capped it with a touchdown, and now we're up 13-6, hopefully make it 14-6 with 15 seconds to go, and we get the ball to start the second half. So despite the blunder we had on the first punt return, we're otherwise doing really well. So 12 plays, 85 yards in 3 minutes, 38 seconds. That's how you want to build a drive. And even with the sack, we managed to come back from that, make the right plays, pick up yardage, and more importantly, put more points on the board. So with 10 seconds on the clock, I expect that Arizona is just going to do a run play here. They're going to want to get to the locker room and regroup. Offset I formation. Nope, they went ahead and threw it. And they're not going to get the playoffs, so we hit the locker room, still leading 14-6 in snowy Foxborough. So we dominated the time of possession. We're perfect on third down percentages. We're 11-1 in first downs, despite having one turnover. And we're crushing them in yardage, 162-24. And we did all that in 2 possessions, opposed to their 3. So Grammatica lined up to give it the boot, and the second half is underway.
This is a nice kick. Redmond catches it.
And Redmond will bring this one back. Breaks one tackle. Breaks another tackle before he's finally forced out of bounds. But a good return of up near the 30-yard line.
Passing and running the football have worked.
First and 10.
But since Redmond brought that one back, I want to give him a rest for a minute. See if we can't convert a quick pass up front. They're stacking 8 in the box here.
Barely gets it off.
And that one knocked away, and I think that's his first incompletion of the day for Drew Blesdoe.
Was getting a lot of pressure from this defense and got rid of it just in time. Smart play from where I'm sitting.
Ball at the 29.
So it'll be second and 10. And he picks up 3.
Only a couple of yards. It will be third and long.
7 yards to go.
It's third and about 7.
All right, so we need a conversion here on third down.
Throws middle. Incomplete.
And they got crossed up my receivers. Otherwise, that was going right to Lucas, but he ran right into his own guy.
Looking a bit sleepy, but they seem wide awake right now.
So we're going to have to punt this one away. So we finally go 3 and out. We're going to get a good punt from Costello. And we got an injured player down for Arizona. Excuse me. So Arizona will take over their 35-yard line, still trailing 14-6 with 4:13 to go in the third quarter.
The Cardinals are on the field, and we'll see if
One guy it doesn't look like they have on this team, And I'm not surprised at all. He's a guy who was highly touted coming out of college.
No one in front of him. Out at the 47, 40,
Uh-oh.
the 25, the 10, and touchdown.
And now
Like a jackrabbit after
we
making
give
that
up the
catch,
touchdown.
scoring on the
And
jump
that was
all the way
David
to
Boston.
the
That's
end
exactly
Well,
what I was
he's a
looking
player
for.
who always looks at the completion as being the beginning of the
So
play,
Ty
not
Law
the
was
end
right
of
there in a
it.
position to
Absolutely.
make
him,
the interception or at least knock the
until
ball
proven
down.
otherwise.
But Plummer was able to float it, and then Boston turned upfield and simply got away from everybody. Now, in the 0-2 season, David Boston, who was a wide receiver who came out of Ohio State, and like I said, he was a highly touted prospect,
Going to go for the two-point conversion.
spent the majority of the season on the IR. And this was his last season with the team.
Two-point conversion is unsuccessful.
He went on to play for the San Diego Chargers in 03, then went to Miami in 04 and 05, the Buccaneers in 06 and 07, was out of the NFL and got picked up by the Toronto Argonauts of the Canadian Football League
I think it will.
in 2008. For his career, David Boston had 315 catches for just about 4,700 yards and 25 touchdowns. He could have had a lot more.
Good kick here.
But his career was marked with injuries and just lackluster performance, and also considerable allegations that he used performance-enhancing drugs. And
The Patriots have got to be pleased with how they're moving the football.
he ended up not being known as the best teammate. Also had a history of off-the-field incidents that got him in legal trouble.
The Patriots will start this drive at the 21.
So let's see what we can do here with 1st and 10. The 21-yard line. We punted on the last possession, and we tried a quarterback sneak and just fell forward.
Right past the line of scrimmage.
Second down,
Gain of 1.
9 yards to go.
Don't know why we went for that when I was trying to hand it off, but that didn't help us any. And now the defense is coming for J.R. Redmond. He had 50-plus yards in the first half.
8 yards to go.
Third and
All right, we're going to need to convert here on 3rd down.
spirals at middle.
And we got it to Lucas, 1st down. Just avoided the sack. Drew bought himself enough time. But more crucially than that, we moved the chains as we're getting near midfield with under 3 minutes to go in the 3rd.
McKinnon fakes the tackle just past the
And
line.
now Redmond's having to fight for a lot more yardage.
A gain of 1.
Second down, 9 yards to go.
Ball at the
See if we can do better getting him to the outside here. But they're running a 4-3 defense. They got the 4 linemen up front, the 3 linebackers behind them.
pitches it.
And he's going to get backed up and dumped. Loss of
Man,
4.
they're getting their helmets handed
We
to them
did
out
not
there.
need
Well, I
that.
tell you, if an offense can't get some positive yardage, I mean, what are they?
Well, I think they're just a bunch of individuals and not a team.
All right, so we need to come up with something big here on 3rd and long.
Barely gets it off.
And we do. We find Patton, 1st down.
Nice job converting
And Drew's got 130 yards on the day on 10 of
They were
12
on the blitz,
passing.
Dan, but it was no match for this tough, talented offensive line.
Yeah, shutting down the blitz can be murder, but if you're successful, you're just about guaranteed an open man downfield. Ball at the 49-yard line.
All right, we're at midfield with 90 seconds to go in the quarter.
They pick it up.
And we go to Troy Brown. He busts a tackle, and he's down near the 30.
On a handful after the catch. Slick move for the
All right, let's go back to the ground game and see if we get JR moving again.
When they're clicking like this, they
Because now
are
they're setting a
almost
dime defense. They got 4 linemen up front, 1 linebacker in the middle.
As you can see here, such low fumble possessions shows he's
Picks up
value
4.
with the ball.
Second down, 6 yards to go.
Ball at the 28-yard line.
All right, so 2nd and 6. Okay, we're not needing a big play. I just need to get somebody underneath that I can complete it to. So I'm looking for Brown. And we got it to him. And he was down near the 10, and that's where they're going to mark it. So it'll be 1st and goal with 30 seconds to go in the quarter.
Delivers a big play with a monster catch. That's a first down with some style.
Let's see if they can put it in. 1st and goal.
We go to Redmond, still on his feet, still moving, and what a touchdown. Oh, they're going to mark him down at that 2. I thought he was in. And I can't replay it to see if they said he was down or not. Because he's right here, still moving. He's still going forward. That should have been a touchdown. I was gonna say, what a run.
They're going for 2.
So they did rule as a touchdown. All right, well, we might as well go for 2 on this one. And we didn't get there.
The 3rd quarter. The Patriots currently enjoying a slight advantage.
I didn't see the official touchdown sign, but be that as it may, it's 20-12. But now the only problem is if the Cardinals score again and they make the 2-point conversion, we're going to be even up. So as long as they don't find a big chunk play to Boston again, or anybody else for that matter, we got a chance. But I'm finding what we need and something we're going to have to look for in the draft
There's not enough time left from
if we decide to do a season 3 later on in the year. And as I've said before, once we finish up this season, we're going to put 2K2 on the shelf for a bit and get back to doing some other stuff with Sports Saturday. But when we come back and do the draft, something I got to find out is somebody who can do, I need to find defensive players who can threaten the quarterback more often. And we got lucky there, as that's going to negate the first down and make it 1st and 20.
The Cardinals come away empty-handed despite some great offensive play. Those darn penalties will kill you every time.
Ball at the 14-yard line.
But despite having Richard Seymour as a future Hall of Famer and Willie McGinnis, who's also a Hall of Famer, we just don't have guys who can seem to get to the quarterback that often.
Look how much more effective they are at stopping the run.
And while we spent last year rebuilding the offensive line, and that has definitely helped, what I need to look into is finding somebody who can be that edge rusher or even an interior rusher, somebody like a John Randall, who can bust through the line and consistently get to the quarterback. Because we don't have that. So it's 3rd and 18. And now we definitely got to hold him here.
3rd and 18.
So go for a dime formation. So we've got 6 defensive backs, 4 linemen, and 1 middle linebacker who's going to be trying to guard the running back who's in motion. And incomplete. So 4th and long on their 15. Are they going to dare go for it? No, they're going to punt it. And rightly so. We've got to pin too far back. If they try and go for it and whiff, with the way our offense is moving, we got a really good chance of making this
The Patriots have the ball as this one
a dagger
cruises
on
to
this
a
drive.
close
So we
finish.
took the fair
What
catch.
a great game.
because we got good field position at our 35-yard line. We got 4.5 minutes to go. We just got to protect the lead. So mainly, I want to burn time off the clock, get first downs, and points of any sort are going to be the priority. But now we're going back 5 yards because Damian Woody still cannot hold still on a regular snap count.
Damian Woody gets the call for a false start. Gotta watch yourself in those situations. Dan,
You would think the guy responsible for snapping the ball would know not to jump the line.
They're focused in on this game.
Or jump the snap, rather.
Everybody's playing as a team. Something happened here. They're just not moving the ball like they were in the first half.
So 63 rushing yards in the first half, 19 in the second. That's pretty telling. Arizona has definitely made sure that we are not able to go to our best option, really. We go to Johnson. He's got it first down, but we picked up 185 yards through the air.
Great passes to his receivers.
And more crucially, we are now on Arizona's side of the field with the clock continuing to run under 3.5 minutes. Now, despite the fact that we are going to be the #1 seed in the playoffs, having the best record, I am not super confident in our chances of making it back to the Super Bowl. Oh, that was a badly designed play. We shouldn't have pitched it out to him.
Tom Knight really earned his paycheck on that play. Not only did he knock them back a few yards, but that's got to hit their morale in the kneecaps.
That's what I wanted.
Ball on the 41.
It'll be 2nd and 14. We'll close out on the 2-minute warning. And we still get it to Lucas first down, and Drew's over 200 yards through the air today.
Have to try and find something to try to stop him.
It's 1st and 10.
So we can get another playoff before the 2-minute warning. Oh, swatted down.
Boy, is he unhappy with himself for not making that
That
catch.
should have been a
No,
pick.
that is the one you won't want to bobble, Peter. A long pass like that can really light a fire under your offense.
Yeah, and I think he could have added a few more.
So now we'll go back to the ground games. This will be the last play before the 2-minute warning.
Look at this stat
And it'll be
here.
3rd and
Once he takes
inches.
that first hit, he keeps on pushing for a whole lot more.
Chavis with the tackle. We've reached the
So it's
2-minute
3rd and about maybe a foot.
showing a small advantage.
And we got it.
Bring him down, and he will be well past.
And Arizona's going to have to call their first time out here.
Take their first time out and stop the clock.
All right, so it's 1st and goal at the 9. And now we're down at the 1.
Use their second timeout.
And they got to use their second timeout.
Ball at the 1-yard line.
Now all we got to do is punch it in. Like so. There's the touchdown marker. And J.R. Redmond with his 3rd touchdown of the day.
That's solid no-frills football, baby.
I like that. The joy of 6.
Kicked the field goal.
We'll line up for the point after.
Or the point after, rather. Can't believe it's a field goal. Because this is the field goal configuration either way. But we now have a 15-point lead, 27-12, with 1:44 to go. So, barring the improbable, we should have this buttoned up. 10 plays, 66 yards.
Vinatieri lines up for the kickoff.
This should be a good kick. Back into the end zone. Will they down it? Nope. Tillman's going to bring it out.
Makes the stop on the return.
The Cardinals are in a must-score situation here. That clock is just ticking away.
All right, so now we just have to protect our position
The Cardinals have the
on the field. Don't give up any chunk plays. Arizona's only got one timeout left. So they're going to have to be going for Hail Mary balls. And throws that one away.
incomplete. No gain on the play. Ball on the 18.
So 2nd and 10, split backfield. Plummer under center. Man in motion. And it's caught, but it's 3rd and 5, and Arizona's going to take their last timeout with 90 seconds to go. So if they can convert here, it's hurry up offense or stop the clock from here on out.
Ball on the 23.
Which they can only do either by Plummer spiking it or them throwing this to somebody who can get out of bounds. And who's the flag? False start in the offense, so back them up 5 yards to the original line of scrimmage.
That's the flag for the false start.
So we're not the only ones who have offensive linemen who can't keep the snap down their head. And it'll be 4th and 9. And now their options are to go for it or punt it, but they can't stop the clock because they didn't get out of bounds. And they're going to go for it. Why not?
Close the gap. They've got to convert here, and they've got to work fast. The clock is at 1:15.
So this is the ball game right here. And they got it, and they're short. He was right there, but I think his knee was down right before he could have tried to get across the first down marker.
This is almost the merciful way. The Patriots are in the driver's
So now we're at the 29-yard line with 1:07 to go. Pretty much we get a first down, then we can sit on the ball and call it good. We go to Troy Brown, but he's forced out of bounds, and that stops the clock with 1:01.
ball on the 11.
1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Oh, lost the fumble again, but this time we recovered it. We got lucky there. Matt Light, the offensive lineman, pounced on it. So it's still 2nd and 1 at the 1.5-yard line, but the clock is still running with 40 seconds to go. I'm going to let it run down here. I figure if I can get it down under 10, if he doesn't convert this, we'll have enough time for one more play because I can call a timeout. I still have all 3 of mine. Alrighty, here we go. And he won't need it because he's in. Touchdown again, J.R. Redmond. And that should put him over 100 yards for the day. I believe that's 4, if not 5 touchdowns he's got. We'll bring Adam back on for the point after. And after giving up the fumble on the first punt return of the game, and that being taken back to the house, and then Plummer finding Boston for a 75-yard chunk play. We weathered those brief storms. Extended the lead to 34-12.
Sets up and will kick it away.
And this will be a good, strong kick. They'll be going right to the back of the end zone. This one's likely going to get downed. No way in the world he's bringing that back out.
Very quickly, not many yards there at all.
The Cardinals have the reins today. If they can avoid easing off, they should be able to withstand any challenges.
All right, so 15 seconds to go. We pretty much have to stop him for one play. So as long as they don't throw it out of bounds, we're good. And they didn't. Can they get this one off? No, they cannot, and that's the ball game. So we win here in the snow at home over the Cardinals, 34-12. We go to 13-1 on the year. And as we take a look at the standings, yeah, we are all alone as the top seed in the league over the Rams at 12-2, the Panthers at 10-4. We got three teams at 9-5, then we got a big log jam behind that at 8-6. So let's see who we play in the penultimate week. We will take on some late Sunday night game at home against the New York Jets. So we'll wrap up that division rivalry, and then we'll look ahead to the season finale and get ready for the playoffs. But that, everybody, is Sports Saturday for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you've been enjoying the content on the channel, you know how to show up by now. Also, be sure to tune in to Sucker Punch Sunday tomorrow, where we will play classic fighting, a fighting platform-based game from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation. Also, be sure to catch the final week, and I do mean it, the final week of Super Robot Wars Alpha Gaiden. It's been a bit rough in getting those episodes recorded for various technical issues and other related stuff outside the shop, but our plan is by hook or by crook, that one will be wrapped up here in the first week of spring, and then we'll be bringing back our one-day playthroughs and WTF Wednesday for a couple of weeks before we start up our next playthrough. Be sure to follow us on social media through Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. Ronan's Retrocade. Help spread the word about us as we try to build this channel and make it bigger and better. As always, your patronage is most appreciated. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed over the last couple of months. We're seeing the numbers continue to go up slowly but surely. That's all because you guys managed to find us, and we're putting out content that you guys like to tune into. So, on that front, if there's a game you would like to see us feature, from the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Master System, Sega Genesis or MegaDrive, SNK Neo-Geo, Nintendo 64, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2, leave it in the comments below or drop me a line on social media. It can be any game from those consoles that you want. My name is Ronan. It has been great to spend this Sports Saturday with you. Be safe, be well, happy gaming, and we'll talk to you tomorrow for Sucker Punch Sunday. Bye.